Can't remember what's his face's name? iOS 5 might be able to help you.
Android plus Amazon might be the Android tablet of your dreams.
And we have photos that reveal the new iPhone 5 as long as you're good at using your imagination.
And we take a look at Decimate, the app that ruins your photos in the most awesome way possible. This episode of App Judgment is brought to you by Carbonite.
Welcome to App Judgment, your source for mobile application news and reviews. I'm Graham Hancock.
And I'm Daybit Player. Later on in the show, we'll be taking a look at the beautiful photo destroyer Decimate for iOS devices. But first, let's take a look at the top mobile news clicked on by you guys over at twitter.com/appjudgment.
Make sure you follow us over there to influence the show here. First up, face detection slips into iOS 5. A little over a year ago, we took a look at an app demo from a Swedish company called Polar Rose. The app called Recognizer was able to ID people and attribute social network information just by aiming a phone camera at them. Well, Apple has since bought them and are now integrating the technology into iOS 5.
I think that I think the wave of the future is going to be photo recognition. It's not a perfect science right now, but I think pretty soon you're not going to have to worry about tagging photos and how to find people.
Right, and you're probably wondering what's behind us. These are the actual API calls that somebody found inside of the iOS 5 software developer kit. So these are the actual code pieces that developers can call up to actually use the face detection.
And I love the way all the fans are really adept at looking at all the funny clues about finding what's going on.
Past these guys.
So next up, there's a study that suggests consumers are clamoring for an Amazon tablet if it's cheap. So Retrivo.com is back again with a great survey suggesting that up to 55% of people polled would absolutely buy a tablet if it was made by Amazon.
Interesting.
I've always thought maybe it's because we're the power users, and probably you guys watching the power users, where we care about the features and how powerful and awesome the system is, and maybe don't realize and consider that price is such a motivating factor for consumers.
Right. We have the chart here where it said that a high-resolution display, 28% people said that was their most important. They're looking forward to that in the next tablets that they buy. But 48% say that a low price is their definitely deciding factor.
I guess that people are really expecting that if it's going to be a small little handheld thing and it's not a full-fledged computer, it shouldn't cost as much as a computer.
That's right. And finally, the iPhone 5 is revealed. Expect a larger screen, a curved back, less buttons. Well, all of this information was extracted from the negative space created from an iPhone 5 case and spec sheet. So this is essentially a case manufacturer got some early info, just a leg up to create their new cases. And so that image you saw just a second ago was the actual CAD software image that they were using to make their cases.
More great detective work. And you can tell that an announcement on features and a launch date is definitely imminent as more and more things come out there on it. And I love seeing people's interest in discussing everything about where the home button is, where certain things are going to be doing, the fact that you might have, it's not called swipe integration, but what is it?
The gestures?
Gestures into the bottom of the whole thing. Obviously, the real state of the device is probably going to be bigger, faster processor, better optics, etc.
Yeah.
I'm excited.
The iPhone rumor mill has been at work for weeks and weeks, and we are probably about to see some sort of official announcement, maybe in mid to late September by Apple, because that's when the rumor is they're going to hold another event soon.
Again, as the rumors have been talking about, right before we went live here, we discovered that 9to5Mac may have snapped an actual photo of an iPhone 5 in the wild. So enjoy this grainy rumor mill photo. Some dude on a train, luckily not left on a bar.
It's very reminiscent of the very first iPhone leak photo. You remember the very first iPhone, the aluminum one? And someone snapped a picture of a guy on Caltrain using it.
I think that was the very first, the original iPhone?
The original
iPhone.
So
it's fascinating because they want to battle test them in the wild because they don't want to have a repeat of what happens to the antenna not working because they don't have enough real world experience with it. So they got to be real careful with sending developers out into the wild, engineers.
Yeah.
So coming up next, we're going to break your pictures into the most beautiful way possible with an app called Decimate.
But first, it's time to get social.
What's up, App Judgment crew? It's Annie. First up, a follow-up to last week's question about apps to help you with your dreaded personal banking. And big thanks to viewers Colin and Christian for your responses. On Twitter, XSD suggests Mint, which is what I use, and Crave For It writes that MoneyBook is his pick because it gives you a visual of your budget, which could be a good option for you visual brain type people out there. Thank you, and if you have any other favorites, let us know using the hashtag AppJudgment on Twitter. In other news, Flurry Analytics posted a study saying that among smartphone users, the average transaction for in-app purchasing is $14. $14 seems a bit high to me. That's like 2.8% of an iPad 2. But according to Flurry, this amount is due to freemium model games that are free to play but require in-app purchasing to continue. Is this kind of a ripoff, or are you cool with it? Let us know on our YouTube poll below. Would you rather pay more now and less later, or nothing now and more later, or nothing ever? In which case, I admire your discipline. Take our poll and leave us a comment on YouTube, tweet us at AppJudgment, or post on our Facebook at facebook.com/AppJudgment. We check them all constantly and obsessively. See you there. This episode of App Judgment is brought to you by Carbonite. Computer disasters eventually happen to everyone. Your computer crashes, gets infected with a virus, you drop it, theft, fire, etc. But if you get Carbonite Online Backup before your disaster happens, then no need to worry, because your files will be backed up automatically and safely offsite, and it's really easy to get them back. Plus, you get anytime, anywhere access to your backed up files from any computer or on your smartphone or iPad with a free Carbonite app. With Carbonite, unlimited backup for your PC or Mac is just $59 a year. That's less than $5 a month. But when you use the offer code AppJudgment to start your free 15-day trial, you'll get 2 months free if you decide to buy. All the details are at Carbonite.com, and remember to use the offer code AppJudgment to get 2 months free with purchase.
Thanks, Annie. Over at youtube.com/AppJudgment, you can catch a few of these Snap episodes where we give you a quick peek at new, updated, and our favorite apps. Here are your judgments for this week's batch.
So I took a look at a game called Super Stickman Golf, a quirky and entertaining golf game whose main strength, I think, lies in its multiplayer mode. So I say download.
That's right, and I took a look at Decimate, a photo glitching app recommended to us by iPhoneographer Doc Pop, who we had on the show recently, actually. Today, we're going to take a closer look at Decimate. It's basically a program that lets you take photos that you've already taken, and it runs them through some algorithms, and you get just glitchy, pixelated, corrupted-looking photos. And some people would say, you know, what's the use in this? Why would you ever want to do that? But it's kind of a creative, artsy thing for me. I really enjoyed playing around with this app and kind of seeing what it would give me.
Yeah, I mean, I think you know, services like Instagram and what Path, which are social networks, have introduced with photo sharing, is that people really like applying filters that do automatic changes, not necessarily like the very calculated stuff you would be doing on a PC using Photoshop.
And Decimate actually has a very long list of filters. They're kind of confusing. They're named certain things, but you can select different filters to get different sort of corrupting effects on your photos. And sometimes you can get some really pretty results. Like, here's a couple of pictures that I took. This one is of the San Diego Convention Center. I was down at Comic-Con this past weekend. Here's a picture of a soundboard that I took and ran through Decimate. And also, I think my favorite one is a photo I took of downtown San Diego. And Decimate just did an amazing job making this look really cool. It's almost like an album cover. Yeah, you know, I agree that it makes cool photos. And the reason I understand some of the haters is because it's taking, you know, an original piece of work, original photo, and messing with what its original original image is. So once you apply a filter like this, and you know, basically it decimates the photo. You don't have have what it originally looked like, what it originally represented. I think, you know, save your originals. You can decimate them as many times as you want, and end up with some pretty cool looking stuff. You're just playing around with it and see what kind of creative things you can do. Actually, our top rated comment on this snap was from Joker3, and he says, "This app looks useless." And our producer Mauricio actually replied and said, you know, you should check out the Flickr photo group, the pool, and it's actually really cool. People have posted a lot of really neat results that they've gotten from Decimate. Here's one of them here. And you can see these pictures were probably just average iPhone photos, and now they're almost like paintings. They're like works of art. You almost feel like you could see this up on a museum wall about what someone was able to do with photography. So it is really cool. I think, you know, I think again, you know, using you know, algorithms of manipulation techniques to apply to, you know, photos easily, you know, allows someone who's not even, you know, a graphic illustrator or a graphic designer to be able to still, you know, create something that looks manual but automatically. Right, so let's hit up some of the pros and cons. The pros are, it saves a copy. It's non-destructive. You're not actually destroying the pictures you're taking. So when you save it, it'll save a copy of it in your photo roll. It's great to use in conjunction with other photo apps. Like you mentioned, Instagram. You can take a photo that you've taken on your camera, run it through Decimate, and then bring it into Instagram and apply a filter on top of that, and it looks really cool. And you never know what you're going to get. So of course, you know, the last pro we have here says the results can be surprisingly beautiful. That's right. And then over to the cons here. So the filter names aren't descriptive enough, and you never quite know exactly what it means. They're named very oddly things.
and there's no undo or previous version, so you got to start all over again.
Right, it's very random. So if you create one and you're like, oh, that looks great, but I want to try again, you hit it, it randomizes all the effects again.
So
and if you wanted to go back to that other one, it's gone.
So what's your judgment? How much does it cost?
It's 99 cents, and some people would argue that paying for something that destroys your pictures is ludicrous, but I say download. I had a lot of fun playing with this app, and I recommend you guys check it out. Download it, decimate some of your photos, and send them to us. We'd love to check them out.
Definitely. So chat with us on Twitter, YouTube, Facebook, and of course at Revision 3. This is AppJudgment. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll catch you next time.
See you guys.